this video, I'm going over 5 tips that will help you create better photos and videos when you travel. I just read a blog post that just drove me nuts because it went over this kind of topic, but the entire thing was just designed to try to get me to buy new gear. So these are genuine tips. This is not sponsored, and I'm hoping that you'll create better content with the current gear that you have and not just feel like you need to run out to the store and buy something new. If you're new to my channel, my name is Joel. I'm a full-time photographer and videographer, and a big part of my story is that I've been sober since 2022. Since then, I've traveled to 46 US states and over 30 countries abroad. So my channel focuses on travel tips as well as photography tips. So if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, so I can keep making videos like this. Now, let's dive into it. So tip number 1, I learned from some of my movie making friends. Start with a story and stay flexible. And I apply this to my travel photography. And I spend hours looking up where I want to go and sites I want to see. And I apply a story to each day. What do I want to tell? It might be that I want to focus on the locals at the market, or I want to make sure I capture a golden hour at a hike that I'm going to end up at an overlook. And that little shift change helps me create more consistent photo work and helps me have a mindset of capturing more cinematic themed content. Tip number 2 is travel light. And the photo that you take is better than the one you didn't because all the gear you brought was too cumbersome and you fumbled around too much and missed the shot. So because you know what story you want to tell, you know which things you need to bring and which things you need to leave home. I have kind of set in my mind kind of 3 categories of equipment that I like to bring on every trip with me. I'm gonna have a DSLR, like a camera body. I'm gonna have an action cam of some sort, whether it's a Osmo Pocket 3 or an Action 5, and then a drone. And with the camera body, I'm going to bring 1 lens, really 2 lenses. If I'm gonna be honest, I bring 2 lenses, but I'm trying to get it down to 1 lens, but definitely not more than 2. The reason that I usually bring the R5 versus my Canon 5D Mark IV, for me, I'm a hybrid shooter, so I like to shoot photos and videos. This is a better hybrid photo video camera. It's also lighter. On a spec sheet, these kind of look nominal in weight, but I can tell you they're definitely not, especially if you're hiking all day. The R5 is better. And this has 45 megapixels versus less on the 5D Mark IV. So R5 is the one that I choose to bring, and then I'm leaving my Canon 5D Mark IV at home when I travel. And then the Action 5 camera is very different than the Osmo Pocket 3. The Action 5 is better for more rugged trips. It can get rained on, it's waterproof, whereas the Osmo Pocket 3 is more fragile. It's got a 3-axis gimbal on top of it. It can more easily break. So keeping those in mind, you kind of know which one you want to bring, but I don't bring both. And then lastly, the drone, because I have different drones that fit different shooting styles. A DJI Neo is more of a selfie drone that can fit in my pocket, whereas the Mavic 3 Pro is much more capable, but it's also much larger. Those are various different scenarios. I make myself choose one or the other and not both. So now I just split my gear down in half. It's a much more manageable amount of gear, and I can easily choose how I'm going to get the shot. The third tip that I have is check your camera settings every time you turn your gear on to make sure that you're getting what you intend to get. The last thing that you want to do is get the most epic shot, but you accidentally caught it in JPEG, or you shot all day on 60 frames a second and you were trying to get it in 24. That can really put a damper on your trip and the content that you try to create. And it's a very simple thing to do, just a quick look, just to make sure that you're on the same page with your gear. Tip number 4 is change your perspective, literally. I learned this from some of my movie making friends on different angles you can capture things that are a little bit abnormal, and it makes things look a little bit more cinematic. But make sure that you're doing it with tip number 1 in mind of what story do you want to tell, and think about, does this make the shot better, or is it just different just to be different, and it doesn't always work. So an example of that is I have a 9-foot telescopic pole that I like to put my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or my Action Cam Pro on. That's great for simulated drone shots, but I was in the bottom of a canyon with that tall pole, and I had just gotten the tall pole. I wanted to use it, and I wasn't thinking about looking up down at the bottom of a canyon doesn't really do anything to enhance the shot. But when I flipped it and got from the ground up and showing the angle from that direction, it was a much better shot. So just think about different perspectives that you can take an extra shot from. My favorite tip, and the one that has helped my photos and videos the most by far, is the tip, try one more. Now, for me, try one more could mean, try another angle, try another perspective, try taking another photo, but it also means, try another hike, try another restaurant, try something new. Stay out of the comfortable rut and expand out a little bit more. If you're just pushing yourself a little bit more every day of your trip, you will be shocked at how much better your photos and your videos will be if you just have a little bit of a perspective shift and you just try one more photo. Now, hopefully this video is helpful to you. Would love if you comment below with any questions that you have, and remember, like and subscribe. Thanks.